Grab yourself a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and check the timer up here. If you're watching live, type in #live, just so I know you're there and you're watching. And many of you watch the replay, so please type in #replay so I know that you've watched this video. This is about investing in property and creating financial freedom. This is for our Freedom Tribe. So if you want to invest in property, you want to create freedom, you should be watching this, so pay attention. But if you get offended easy and you're a snowflake, I suggest you switch off now because it's probably not for you.
My mate George here, he retired at the age of 37 by investing in property. Mate, I feel like I'm with royalty today.
I think George is a great mentor because he really does care. The George I know, I met him 3 years ago, he does care. That's why he does his work. So I can talk to you about cash flow and all those things. George is better at that than me.
Property guru George Markowski from Positive Property Solution joins us now. George, good morning to you.
How are you, George?
Okay guys, me and my team are about to go live, so make sure you grab your beverage of choice, sit down, and you're in for an amazing show. Hello and welcome. Hi Billy.
Afternoon, everyone. How are we?
Good evening. If you're watching live, please type in #live. And if you're watching the replay, please type in #replay. And tonight we're going to be talking about property prices. Are they going to go up in 2024? Are they going to go down? What's the question? And we're going to be answering that question today. So welcome. So what I want to do is, one, I'm going to share my screen and go through what's happening in the property market, do my property market update tonight. Okay, allow screen share. Okay. Nope, wrong one. Trying to.
Beard's looking good, George. Najib says.
Okay, thanks, mate. Well, Najib's coming back to Adelaide soon, so it's good to catch up with him.
Definitely.
And I've got my Mac, and when I've got my Mac, I can never find my screen. But don't worry, we'll get there. So, because I've heard Mac's
IT is as good as mine today.
Oh, look, exactly. And my team's really good. But what I'm going to talk about tonight is while I'm looking for my screen, because I can't see myself, I want to talk about interest rates and what's happening with interest rates, because that's pretty important. The RBA recently, finally, did nothing, right? So they had a meeting, and you know why I can't see this? Because we're not on Zoom, we're in Restream. There you go. I found where I am. Excellent. So the RBA have not hiked up the rates for once, which is pretty awesome. So allow screen share.
Finally, after how many?
I think they had a record. They had a record amount of rate rise. We've never had that many ever in history. Now, can you see my screen?
Sure can.
Yep. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see.
Beautiful. Fantastic. We're in business. Okay, will property go up in 2024? Let me give you the nuts and bolts. Okay, one, they're saying now they haven't gone up in the rates. Aussie interest rates are beginning their march back to zero. So most economists predict a series of cuts, probably 5 or 6, that take the cash rate down to about 3.1% by the end of 2025. So this is going to happen over a period of time, and it's probably going to start in 2024. A lot of people are predicting September 2024 to be the time that it happens. Australian housing construction has collapsed. If you look at this graph, the green is the population change, and the red is commencements. It's gone right down from 500,000 down to 250,000. Completions has gone down. Approvals have gone down. Everything's gone down except population. New sales of homes have gone down. People have stopped buying properties now. Loans for purchase and construction of new homes have just gone straight down. And Australian housing constructions has collapsed. So they reckon only 79,000 new homes will be finished by 2026.
Wow.
And you can see net overseas migration, which is huge. The unemployment rate has gone up a little bit. And the RBA has been watching this very strongly because what's going to happen is if unemployment rate goes up a little bit more, then the RBA are going to get a chainsaw and start cutting rates even faster than what we expect. History repeats of high-rise apartment defects, and that's why we don't touch high-rise apartments. You know, because over the last decade, we witnessed the biggest high-rise apartment construction boom in Australian history. But also, we had a boom in quality issues and a lot of challenges, especially in the CBDs of Melbourne and Sydney. Now, this is the sad part. More Australian renters are getting turfed on the street. See, the reason why there's a lot more visible people camping at various sites around a place like Brisbane City is because rental affordability is at all-time low. This is according to the Courier Mail. We just don't have enough houses. And that is the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop the screen share. So if you've got any questions about this, let me know. But interest rate will go down and yes. So this is the thing, what's happening now. And this is what we need to really think about. Warren Buffett says, when everyone is greedy, be fearful. When everyone's fearful, be greedy. What he means by that is he means that you need to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing in the marketplace because most people in the marketplace don't know what they're doing. How does this apply to the property market in Australia? This is the way it applies. Basically, you can see that there's not a lot of people buying houses, not a lot of people getting approved for houses, not a lot of houses getting built, and not a lot of houses getting completed. However, at the same time, we've got the population going up. This is a classic example of a supply-demand irregularity. So when supply and demand is equal, the market stays the same. And things just hum along as they normally hum along. However, if there's a discrepancy, and it can go both ways. So if there's too much supply and not enough demand, that crashes the market. And that's when you've got to be worried. And funny enough, that's normally when people get involved in the real estate market because that's what happens is property prices start going up, builders go in, start building lots, everyone keeps buying as they're going up, getting all excited, and then there's a downturn because there's oversupply, because developers and builders oversupply. This is similar to what happened in Holland back in the 1600s with the tulip craze. I don't know if you heard about the tulip craze in Holland.
No? Enlighten us?
Okay, so what happened in Holland? Tulips became very popular and people started really prizing beautiful tulips and people were growing tulips and selling tulip bulbs. And the price of the tulips kept going up. And people would buy tulips to plant, but they'd go up in value, then you'd sell them. And before you know it, they were going up so high, you could actually buy a house with one tulip.
Okay. It's currency.
It was sort of, because it went up in value so much. Then everyone went really crazy and started just selling everything and buying tulips. And then suddenly, there was an oversupply. There was just tulips everywhere and it crashed. And that's what happens when there's too much supply and not enough demand. But that's not happening now. That happened back in 2008. What's happening now is the complete opposite. What's happening is we've got a tightening and constraint of properties. Labor are supposed to be building 240,000 properties per year in Australia, and they haven't even gone close to their target in year one. And they're supposed to be building I think it's 1.3 million houses next 5 years. And they're already way behind the 8 ball in their first year. So what's going to happen in 9 years' time? They're screwed. And the reason they need to do this is because there's homeless people. So there's such a lack of supply that we're going to have the biggest boom in history. The fact of it is, next 5 or 10 years, there's going to be more millionaires made from property investing than the last 100 years in Australia. That's a pretty
Can
big
I be one of
statement.
them?
Absolutely.
Please.
Of course you can. Of course you can. That's the fact. That's what's going to happen. And we've been seeing it happen over and over. I mean, Billy, since you've been with our company, you can see, people buy a property. By the time they settle, by the time they build, it's gone up 100, 200 grand, and it just keeps
Yep.
going up. And then sometimes there's a delay and people are going, oh my God, there's a 6 months delay. But during that time, it's still going up and making them money.
A little bit. Yep.
Exactly. So that's what's happening at the moment. So I suggest anyone watching this is what you need to do. Get your ducks in a row before interest rates go down. Because once they go down, too late. Because once they go down, everyone else is going to do the same thing. There's a whole pile of people waiting for interest rates to go down so they can get a loan and buy an investment property or a property. So it's going to be huge. So that's what's happening. Yeah. So, so in conclusion, will properties go up in 2024? Depends on what happens to interest rates. Are they going to go up? Yes, they are. But we don't know how fast they're going to go. And I think by the end of the year, they're going to start accelerating because property prices have already started. So in the last 12 months, on average, property prices went down 7%. Right? However, not in the properties we invested in because we invested in the top 100. Because what you've got to look at, there's 15,000 suburbs in Australia. And out of those 15,000 suburbs, there's always suburbs that are always going to go up at any given point in time. And there's other suburbs that are going down depending on the supply and demand ratio of that particular suburb. And that's what we're going to look at. So bag of tulip, €2. That's someone said, yep. Vicky said, how do you mean get our tax on the line? I didn't say get your tax on the line, did I? I said, get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
So what
Get ready to purchase.
Yep. What does that mean? Getting your ducks in a row, this is what it means, just to clarify for people. Getting your ducks in a row is, when it comes to property investing, is one, finding out what your assets are, finding out how much equity you've got, reducing your debts, cutting down your credit card, going to a broker, getting your borrowing capacity ready, getting ready to get a loan, getting a mentor or someone that can help you start looking for property and getting ready for all this. That's what getting your ducks in the line is, because what you need to do is really get ready and buy the bargains before they go up. Because at the moment, and this is amazing at the moment, there's quite a few suburbs in Australia where property prices are way, way undervalued. And if you knew what you were doing, you'd see that. It's a bit like, you got these, have you seen those shows, the antique shows, where, people find some old crappy thing under the bed and these people come in and go, wow, that's worth like 20 grand. And they're like, I didn't realize.
I'm missing that right now, George.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm going to, I was going to throw it out, but this antique person came in and goes, yep, it's worth 20 grand. Well, that's because they've got the experience, they know. So when it comes to property and suburbs, I'm like the antique guy, but for property. I don't know much about antiques, but I know a lot about suburbs. And I can pick the suburbs that are undervalued, that have been sitting there. We can just polish them up and they're going to be amazing and you're going to make good money out of them. That's the thing. So that's the interesting thing.
So this is like your property clock? Is this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the top 100. So out of 15,000 suburbs, every quarter, I publish the top 100, and that's the top 100 suburbs that we invest in.
That you're looking at?
Yeah, exactly. Tell us which suburbs. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Okay, I'll give you an idea. I'll tell you where a lot of our suburbs are. A lot of our suburbs are in Brisbane, they're in Adelaide, and they're in Perth. There you go. However, what the thing is some suburbs are better than others. So funny enough, if you look at my no-go zone list, there's actually there's a suburb, and then next door to the suburb is a top 100, and the other suburbs no-go zone, don't buy, because of the demographics, because it's already had its growth. If someone said, is Brisbane Redback Plains good suburb to buy? I cannot answer this question, but thank you for asking, because I'm going to be saving that for our SHERP, which we're going to be doing very soon. That's exactly what I just did. Joined Positive Property at the start of the year, and I am in the process on getting in my personal name and in my super. I'm 34 years old. Great team. Awesome. That's beautiful.
Okay.
So there you go. Thank you for that. And you're getting your ducks in a row, and you're getting 2 properties. You're 34. You're still young, which is fantastic. In Perth, where? Okay. So these suburbs, these top 100 suburbs, there's 15,000 suburbs. I choose the top 100, and I've got a list that I keep in my safe and keep under lock and key. There's the golden list. Now, before I did Positive Property, in the early days, developers used to actually hire me and pay me $50,000 to spend half a day with them and share my findings, my research, and my list with them. I don't do that anymore. I keep that for us. And this is proprietary information, because if everyone knew these suburbs, then our clients wouldn't be able to make the amazing gains they do. When they buy a property and it goes up 100, 200 grand, it doubles in the next 5 or 6, 7 years, 10 years. That's because they're buying the right suburb. And that's the sort of thing I reserve for our clients. So, sorry. However, if you want to get a bit of an understanding, what I'm going to be doing is I've got my principles I've written down in my book. I've got an Amazon bestseller, and this sells for $27 on Amazon. But instead of going to Amazon and paying $27, what I'm going to be doing tonight is giving it away for free. So if anyone wants a copy of my book, Freedom Through Property, type #freedom, and I'll get my team to reach out and send you a free copy of my book. And hopefully that can help educate you and help you get to the next level and learn more about the principles and how this works. There's only so much I can teach you here at our live, which is going to be ending very soon, I think. What time's our next meeting? Let's have a look.
In about 6 minutes.
Yep, we've got 6 minutes. So if anyone wants to type in #freedom, and what I'll do is I'll get my team to reach out and give you a free copy of my book.
Okay, we've had something ask, should we pay principal or interest on my own property that I'm living in? Should you pay principal or interest?
Great.
Yeah.
So we've got someone on YouTube actually listening to us live, which is awesome, because most of the people are on Facebook, which is great. Should I pay principal and interest for my property I'm living in? Okay, most people would say to you, principal and interest. You go to the bank, they're going to say principal and interest, except not me, not this little black duck. The reason I say that is we want to pay interest only, because there's one thing that's been going on a lot lately. It's the thing called inflation, right? And inflation, what it does, it inflates things. So it's like a balloon. When you inflate a balloon, you blow air in it, it gets bigger. So what happens to your property, the price of your property with inflation is blowing up that balloon, and that property is growing. And you can't stop inflation. It keeps going. And the reason properties double every 7 or 10 years is because 7, 10 or 12 years is because of inflation. So your property is not actually going up. What's happening is the money is going down, the value of money is going down, which makes your property look like it's going up, because money is a soft asset, it's paper, it's not real, where properties are real assets. So hard assets go up in inflation, where soft assets actually shrink. So what that means is, if you put $100,000 in the bank and you leave it there for 10 years, it will be worth around about $50,000 in 10 years' time, if not 20,000, somewhere between 20 and 50,000. That's what's going to happen with your 100,000. You'll still be called 100,000, but you'll be able to buy what you can buy now for 20,000 in 10 years' time. Where if you get a $500,000 property now and wait 10 years, that $500,000 property is probably going to be worth $1 million. And that's the difference between what inflation does to your savings and what it does to your house. So that's why I only pay interest only, because instead of trying to pay off your house, inflation shrinks your loan. If you've got a big loan at the moment worth 300 grand and you wait 10 years, that loan is only really 150 in 10 years time in those things. Unfortunately, you're paying a lot of interest along the way, which sucks. So what we're going to do is really get investment properties to supplement your income, because I've got a massive loan on my property, but I don't pay for it. I've got tenants, the taxman, the bank, and they pay all the interest on my house. They'll live here for free. Even if it's a high rate, yes, especially if it's a high rate, because cash is not king, cash flow is king. You want cash flow. Now, if you haven't got a great strategy for investing and you're not going to use an offset account and you're not going to shrink your loan, then maybe principal interest is better. But the people in our group, they do interest only because interest only is so much better because of what we do.
So apparently there are 3 suburbs that are going to boom. Oh, do we know what those 3 suburbs are?
There's more than 3.
Yeah,
A lot more than 3.
I hope so.
Well, Billy, you actually see the suburbs day in, day out.
Yeah.
So, Billy, do you want to explain what you do for Positive Property? Well, might as well introduce you now that I didn't introduce you properly before.
Oh, that's okay. So I'm a client success manager. So I will work. I know there's some new members that have joined tonight. So I help you from the time that you are going for a property. I will hold your hand and guide you through the contract process, help you liaise with your finance broker, your conveyancer, get you through to settlement, everything going to plan, and we'll get a tenant in the property for you or help you get one in. So yeah, I'm at the back end. You won't see a lot of me on Facebook Live and things like that. I shy away from that a little bit. Sorry, I'm a little bit quiet. But yeah, I'm good at the back end. I'm good at helping you go through the process and just guiding you, give you step by step. I've got a lot of pamphlets and things that I've put together now that I'll share with everybody as they come through the program a little bit more, just so that you know what your next steps are, what's expected of you, what you will expect from me, etc. So yeah, I'm a hand holder for you.
Yeah, basically what you do is pretty amazing. You get people from once they find the property all the way through to settlement, getting it rented out, and you coordinate the 12 different people they need along the way at the right time, the right person, and just get it all done. It's actually pretty amazing. So it's really good. And look, we got to go to our private little group tonight now. This is the end. So I wanted to say thank you for everyone watching. Thank you so much. Remember, #freedom. If you want a free copy of our book, my team will reach out. Hope it helps you. It took me a long time to write, probably a lot easier and quicker to read than write. Thank you for joining us. Join us next Thursday. We've got a great show lined up for you next Thursday. Because what I'm going to be doing now over the next 14 weeks, I'm going to actually be taking things that we teach inside our program and showing you exactly what we're doing and how it works. It's going to be very exciting. So look out for that. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Billy.